in the quiet village of Nandalpur, nestled between dry hills and whispering wheat fields, stood a crooked little house with a rusted tin roof and cracked mud walls. It belonged to the Mishra family, a family of 5 clinging to hope and each other. Raghu Mishra, the father, once worked as a mason, but an accident at the construction site 5 years ago left him with a shattered leg and no work. His wife, Mira, ran a small tea stall by the roadside. Their 3 children, Kavya, age 14, Aman, age 11, and little Anjali, barely 6, attended the village school, but only when there was food on the table and no bills waiting to be paid. Mira woke before dawn every morning. She boiled water in a rusted aluminum kettle over firewood she gathered from the forest. Her stall was just a wooden plank propped on bricks. Merkamek. She sold tea and sometimes biscuits to truck drivers and laborers passing through. Even in the darkest days, Mira smiled. Her eyes, though tired, held sparks of fire, of stubborn will to survive. One Thursday morning, the family faced a crisis. Their grain jar was empty. The kerosene in the lake and the sky, gray with clouds, threatened rain. Mira couldn't open her stall. The roads were flooded. Raghu sat on the floor, his crutch beside him, staring blankly at the cracked ceiling. A man returned from school, wet to the bone. "Ma, they sent me back. No books, no homework, and no lunch." Kavya tried to cheer her siblings. She shared the last piece of jaggery they had, but it did little to ease the growling stomachs. That night they drank boiled water with a pinch of salt. Raghu murmured, "Tomorrow will be better." Mira, even in hunger, held his hand and nodded. She had faith. Maybe not in miracles, but in her children. The next morning, Kavya woke early. She tore an old cotton sari and stitched small bags. She filled them with tamarind from the tree outside and took them to the market. She stood at the corner calling out, "Fresh tamarind, just 1 rupee." People laughed. Some ignored her, but a few women bought the packets. She earned 12 rupees that day. It wasn't much, but it was enough to buy 2 rotis and a handful of lentils. The next morning, Kavya woke early. She tore an old cotton sari and stitched small bags. She filled them with tamarind from the tree outside and took them to the market. She stood at the corner calling out, "Fresh tamarind, just 1 rupee." People laughed. Some ignored her. But a few women bought the packets. She earned 12 rupees that day. It wasn't much, but it was enough to buy 2 rotis and a handful of lentils. Back home, Mira hugged her daughter. "You're a fighter, just like your mother." Inspired by Kavya's effort, Aman started collecting plastic bottles and scrap metal from the streets. He sold them to the recycling man for 5 rupees a bag. Dirty and tired, he came home with his prize. "Ma, this is for food." Even little Anjali, who barely understood the meaning of money, tried to. She sat beside Mira at the stall and sang songs to attract customers. Their unity became their strength. In early October, Raghu fell ill. His leg swelled, and he burned with fever. They couldn't afford a doctor, so Mira used home remedies: turmeric paste, neem water, and prayers whispered into the wind. One evening, Kavya walked to the village clinic and begged the doctor for help. "We can't pay you now, sir, but my father is very sick." The doctor, moved by her courage, visited the home. He gave medicine and advice: clean water, rest, and love. That's the cure. For a week, the children took turns fanning their father, fetching water, and boiling rice porridge with whatever they had. Mira barely slept. Raghu slowly recovered, not just from the fever, but from despair. He began to paint wooden toys, something he had learned as a boy. Kavya took them to the market. One by one, people began to notice the craftsmanship. Winter came, harsh and biting. Their thin blankets offered little warmth, but something. The toys Raghu made began selling. A man from the nearby town offered a bulk order of 10 wooden elephants. Kavya and Aman helped polish and paint them. Mira's tea stall became popular for her spicy chai. She added puffed rice snacks to the menu. Neighbors, who once pitied them, began to respect them. One evening, as the family sat around a small fire, eating roasted sweet potatoes, Raghu said, "We're not rich in money, but we're rich in spirit." Kavya smiled. "We're surviving the difficult days, Papa. Together." Chapter 6, School Dreams. With a bit more income, Kavya returned to school. Her teachers noticed her determination and recommended her for a scholarship. She studied late into the night by lantern light. Aman also excelled. His math teacher gave him old textbooks and helped him prepare for exams. Anjali, too, began learning her letters, drawing letters in the dust with her fingers. Education became their secret weapon.